This is part 2 of our tour of Adam's calendar. And in this part, we are visiting the stone of the Earth Mother. And Edwin talks about the significance of this particular stone. If you've missed part 1 of our videos, please see the link in the description below.
It's the Blue Swallow Nature Reserve. You can see this. This is the main gate, and this is owned by the Forest Commission. So this place is a protected area, and this is why you see the gate here is closed. They don't want people having access into this place randomly. So we got a permit. Michael Tellinger, he has a permit, and we are allowed to come inside there with guests and actually go and see the calendar. So now let's just go to the stone man. We call him the stone man or the mother stone or the stone mother. I'll show you why they actually get close or with artifact. It's called there here. It's one of the most old artifact or stone sculpture in humanity, and they did a lot of research on it, on the rock itself, and the laser scanning of the rock itself. They also did the reverse hydration elementary tests of the rock itself to determine the amount of water content inside a rock over a specific period of time. They also did the astronomical alignment test to the whole site by calculating using the 3 best stars of the Orion belt, which are Onilam, Onitak, and Mintaka. They also did the archaeobotanist test of the soil samples and everything. So they found out that this artifact could probably not be less than 75,000 years old.
Wow.
And they said, no, this is too much, because in mainstream academia, we don't find any information which goes anywhere near past the 6,000 year cycle. And the 6,000 year cycle in which we get our history from in modern civilization is actually only determined by the flooding, nothing else. We just use the water flooding. Some call it the floods of Noah, some call it Atlantis, some call it the Great Ice Age, and that's not very much of a content in terms of aging and dating ancient civilization sites on the planet. So this is where you get Egyptology stating that humans have been here for probably 6,000 years. But we have to then go to a step further to the fire flood and the mud flood. Then you will find that we had the dinosaur here. So now, how would the dinosaur fit in the flooding? Yes. Then we go to Mpuluzi, just 200 kilometers from here. We see the giant footprint. And then we say, now, did the Nephilim really walk this land? Now we've got a lot of congestions of evidences, which the scientists say, maybe that's something. Now we get all these goosebumps again, and we don't really know which timelines we are referring to in mainstream academia. So here is one piece of evidence which is going to just suggest that humans have not been here only for 6,000 years. And when you go to Zachariah Sitchin's book, you hear when he talks in his book about the 12th planet, the planet Nibiru, and he also talks about the Sumerians. He says, but I'm also puzzled by a certain statement or reference in Sumer, which they continue saying inheritance. What the hell do they mean when they say inheritance? It means that we are not the first on this planet. We actually inherited a lot of things. Our language is actually an inheritance. Our geology, geometry, mathematics, construction, and everything that we do and see and supposedly think we invented is actually an inheritance. So we have just arrived at one of the oldest pieces, man-made carvings, stone carvings in human history, and this is the stone man.
The thumb of Jim.
Well, here we are. And this is the stone man, or the shaman call it the mother stone. This was part of Adam's calendar, but somebody dug him up, removed him, and he was then rediscovered in a house at Kapsuwup where you were staying up there.
Wow.
Yes. So this man who discovered this artifact lying on the ground on his yard said, no. This is not just an ordinary rock, as I can see it. Like somebody was carving it. And this is not how wind erosion or water erosion actually does on rock. So he thought it was something that was carved out. So he started to put it in magazines and newspapers to say, hey, I found something here which is very funny and clear. But there was a man called Credo Mutwa. Credo Mutwa is a shaman, and he was a shaman. May his soul rest in peace. And he was the one who positively identified the mother stone. He calls it the mother stone. And Michael Tellinger called it the stone man, and or refers to his stone mother. So those references, you are actually going to hear what they term, but they are only referring to this national artifact that we have here, which was placed here. And this is actually, as I was saying, the Blue Swallow Natural Heritage Site. So in this place where we are standing, it's a protected heritage site, and also the breeding of the blue swallow birds, which were becoming extinct in South Africa. So they are being bred in this place. So they took the stone man to come and place him here so that he can be protected better. I don't know the reasons why now they could not take him back to Adam's calendar. You know, when an artifact becomes at law in South Africa as a heritage, under the Heritage Act, then you have a lot of papers to start filling in and a lot of bungling that happens. So Michael Tellinger said, okay, it's fine. Let's leave him here as is until we do the papers so that we can take him back to the US. So what has happened with the stone man? The rock that builds this rock you are looking at, it's actually plutonic gabbro. This, in scientifically, they call it a plutonic gabbro, or they refer to it generally as dolerite rock. Now, dolerite rock is also found building another ancient civilization site, which is the Stonehenge. And dolerite rock, here in this place where we are standing, in Kapsuwup, there is no dolerite rock here. So this must have been brought in to this place to build this actual ancient heritage site. And when you go to England, the same thing happens. When you go to the Stonehenge, you're going to find blue dolerite does not exist in England. In England, you've got granite. So what happens is it was brought in the nearest place around. You can search for blue dolerite. There is Wales. So that's about 200 kilometers away. And how would somebody lift tons and tons, 25 tons,
They're
20, very, very huge.
I've been there.
And yes, and bring them to a site just to play, because there's a lot of time to align all these sites to the sun and the Orion belt. That's a problem there. Again, here at Inzalo Yelanga, which is Adam's calendar, we have the same issue where we find that this rock does not exist in this place. We are going to see some tons and tons of it there. And you would say, so how now was it brought into this place? And was it just for fun that they brought it into this place? Now, this rock, why it is called a plutonic gabbro, it is because even in England, even in China, even in Great Zimbabwe, in Peru, Machu Picchu, you are going to find that this is the same rock. But the special effect of this rock is it is a magnetic rock. And people have wondered, why are you saying this is a magnetic rock? Now, when I say it's a plutonic gabbro, it means that this rock formation actually is an intrinsic igneous rock, and it is formulated very, very deep underneath the ground. But it is what we call holocrystallite element, in which basalt is also a strand inside this rock, making it very, very super hard. It's very, very hard and very weighty. But in the middle of these crystals, we've got what we call silica, microsilica, which is also inside this rock, which looks like a glass silicon chip that is also inside this rock. And that's where the whole story starts, because that's where you have telepathic what? Communication. Yes, we don't need cell phones. The cell phones and knowledge, this is an ancient library that we are looking at here. It's actually an ancient, very, very ancient library, which can have telepathic people actually tap into it through the silicon wave frequency grid, similar to your phone, where we've got a silicon chip where we store information. And this rock can also be very capable in telepathy and frequency to store what? Storage of what? Of information. So you're going to find that the shaman, this place, Adam's calendar, was then a shamanic place where the shaman would converge after a certain period of time to have initiation ceremonies done to the shaman. So that is what was happening here. So a lot of shaman today are now coming into Inzalo Yelanga to actually resonate with the frequency that they tap from the telepathic momentum arc of this place. So you will find that when you go to the Stonehenge again, you find a certain scenario. When you go to Machu Picchu, when you go to Egypt, you are going to find that there is a lot of ancient knowledge that is just banished out of our content. And we don't really know how to recoup it, because maybe we have gone out of ways and out of sorts from tapping into the grid of the elementary frequency of humanity, in which we were actually in resonance with the plants and animals at frequency which was at par with all. And this is why in the past you would find that the lion would not harm you, but as soon as you started eating meat, the frequency changed and all the animals started to run away from you because you were actually a fruiterer. So you'll find that we have changed a lot of frequency resemblance to the land, the plants, the rivers, the forests, the years, and animals and birds, species and fish and everything, because we have lost touch of actually basically who we are. So this was a shamanic place. Adam's calendar was an ancient shamanic place. So in 1937, that is when the last shamanic ceremony was held. And amongst the 40 people who were there, Baba Credo Mutwa was also amongst this last group of shaman, African shaman. These are not just African shaman. We are talking of very ancient knowledge keepers. Because in our African tradition, we've got the Nyanga, we've got the Gobela, we've got the Sangoma. But the persons, the people who were being trained there are actually the Sanusi. Now, the Sanusi is the PhD of African spirituality. And you would not become a Sanusi before you reached the age of 40. You cannot become a Sanusi before you reach 40. You cannot become a doctor according to the laws of Imhotep, below the age of 40. I don't know these 4 years people are doing and graduating at university and calling themselves doctors. I don't know where they are getting that. Yes, but you cannot become a doctor below the age of what? 40. That was the laws of Imhotep, which they call the laws of which they, the hypocritical oath, which we have in nurses and doctors in modern science. But that is something else. I don't know where they are getting their knowledge from. And at 16 years, in 1937, Baba Credo Mutwa was actually called. He actually dreamt. He dreamt. Nobody called him to say, hey, come here, we want to do some ceremony here. He just pitched up one day. And he found these 39 guys here. And they said, now, what do you want here? And he said, no, I had a dream when I was in KZN, KwaZulu Natal. That is about 4 days walk. He walked for 4 or 5 days to arrive here. And they said, yeah, indeed. Come and join us. He had telepathic intuition, yes. And he came on his own without anybody inviting him. And he was only 16 years old when he arrived. And amongst those 40 people, there was another old man who was 112, who was learning to be a Sanusi. And he was 112 years. So you would see that I am saying, according to the laws of art and ma'at of Imhotep, the scripts of the books of the dead, books of coming forth by day, the scripts, the ancient scripts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, they will tell you that you cannot be a doctor, a certified doctor, below or practice when you are still below the age of 40. So the people who were with Baba Credo Mutwa at that time were all above 80 years old. They were all above 80. And they were starting to be trained as They had been Nyangas, they were Gobelas, they were Sangomas, they were into African medicine, the best of African medicine. But they were told that you are not yet there. You will still need to be trained. Yes. And this is where they could telepathically look into the system, even human anatomy, using the third grid, which is the elementary light grid, which is the Ara complex. And that is when you could look. That's an X-ray. That's the ancient X-ray, in which you use your telepathic to go into the grid, your stomach. You've got a stomach problem. I can look inside your stomach and know exactly what your ailment is. Not by using this laser rays and what, but the third formulative I grid of. Yeah, so this was African wisdom. It was humanity engraved in our DNA consciousness. But somehow we lost it. There is a lot of things that could have happened along the way that we could lose this knowledge. And this knowledge today, we are so surprised about Egypt, how they built the pyramids. Even the geologists and scientists cannot tell you how the pyramids were built. They can come with all these statements and elementary study, research, but they would not tell you to be able precisely to tell you how these things were actually done. Even the Bermuda, they are still wondering what it is, why there are crystal pyramids which are still rotating under the sea. Yes, they still don't know it. Why we've got timelines. What actually time is. They don't really know what it is. Where do we go after we reincarnate? There is a lot of things that we have failed to understand. But these are signatures, footprints and fingerprints which were left by the ancient to try and tell us that you are not just here to be working a 6 to 6 job. No, you are not just here for that. You are here for something much more magnificent and magnified, in which you have to realign your metaphysical, your spiritual, and have a purpose for actually reconvening the environment and the planet. And while you are here, you are just passing through. You've got another time grid which you are going to. You are not just here to enjoy some money, some pieces of paper. No, you are not here for that. You are actually here for a purpose. And the purpose is to uplift the frequency of love. And then you can transcend into a higher consciousness. Yes. Yes. Uplift the frequency of what? Of love, yes. So that you can manifest the physicality and the spirituality. And why you've got a creator. He is there. Yes, he created, and he wants you to experience this in the metaphysical. But actually, this is why your body would have to go ashes to what? To ashes. That's to what? You have experienced it, but have you done it correctly? If you haven't done it correctly, well, it's just 80 years, 60 years, 90 years, 100 years, then you go to ashes, because I wanted you to experience it, but you failed. I said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Then you failed. Just do that. Then just get away. Then the next one comes in. And we go on and on. So this was a shamanic place, and we know that this is where Baba Credo Muta was also initiated into a Sanusi. And he talks about a lot of other things, the secret code, the light language, the light work that they were doing, and even hypnosis. Women are the best in hypnosis. Nobody can go past there. Their frequency is tops when it comes to hypnosis. If we could put them in power, this world would change. Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, it would change. But we've got ego. What happens with men is we've got what? Ego. So we suppress our consciousness because it is all called mother. Come and see. Yeah. When you come and stand here, you are going to see it has got two alignments. Can you see? There is the masculine alignment and the feminine what? Alignment. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The feminine alignment of the womb, that, and then you've got the masculine alignment. This is what the stone man actually is. And this is what they call the mother stone, because it depends which of your frequency is more dominant. Is it the masculine alignment or is it the feminine? Agreed. So even in transcendence, also it happens the same way. It's either you can ascend and transcend as a masculine grid or as a feminine one. Alignment is. It depends which energy is more dominant at that particular time. So this is the oldest stone carving in human history that we have here. And where this stone man is standing, if I face this way, it is actually standing on the 31st east degree longitudinal line. So if you were to blindfold me and I would walk straight in a straight line going up this way to the north, it means that I'm going to come to a place which is called Timbavati. And in this place, you only find the white what? Lions. Yes. There's no other type of lion you get there. It's white. And the monkeys, white what? Which are there. Nobody knows how this has happened. As when you move further, you cross the Timbavati, you go and you come to Great Zimbabwe. There is an ancient Great Zimbabwe monument where the name Zimbabwe is actually derived from. It's actually a stone ruin. And this stone ruins is also created out of this rock, dolerite rock. And this is where the name Zimbabwe is actually derived from, meaning the house of stone. And then from there, you move further up, you go into the Sudan, and you find just off the cliff there, you find the Great Kenyan Rift Valley there and Sudan. And you've got plenty of pyramids clustered in one place there. They don't really know who built this. And then you move up north further and you come to the pyramids of Giza. Right there, the highest plateau on the planet. That's the pyramids of what? The Giza pyramids. Pyramid means fire in the center. That is what pyramid means. What are they talking of? Energy. This is not just for fun. Yes, they are talking of pyramid, meaning fire in the what? In the center. That's the highest point on the planet. And this is a grid where you stand by the pyramid and you do this. You form what we call the Vitruvian Man. You've got the pyramids of Mexico here and the Chinese pyramids here, aligned to the pyramids of Giza. And then when you do this again, you've got Great Zimbabwe, the pyramids, Timbavati, you've got Adam's calendar, you've got Uluru in Australia, also aligned, the sacred mountains of, yes, in the same one. And all this is an energy grid formulated from the frequency of 29.9, 299 million miles per second, which is the speed of what? Speed of light. The frequency on this ley line equates to the speed of what? Speed of light. This is why it's called fire in the center, yes. We are talking of earth energy. Probably, this is where Michael Tellinger and all these other researchers think that there could have been a civilization where we tap everything from, where we inherit everything that we have, our technology, writing skills, you name it. It could possibly have been what the Sumerians were referring to when they say, Sitchin says, we inherited. The Sumerians say we inherited. Why are they continuing to state that all these things that we have today is an inheritance from an ancient civilization, vanished, and they call it a vanished civilization? And Sitchin comes with the 12th planet idea, in which the Anunnaki or the Anunna gods could possibly have been passing through this planet, who came from the planet Nibiru, and possibly could actually have influenced what we have today, what we actually using. All this technology that you're holding was once there before. Yes. It's only that we did not know how it was what. And we think it is a reinvention, but it is actually the strands which is actually ignited in your DNA, which the scientists or researchers or biologists choose to call junk DNA. There is nothing called junk. You don't formulate and create something so that you can say, I created junk. I just created junk. All this heap of things that we created is just junk. Then why did you take your time creating it? There is something that has been shut out in our chakra, which we cannot possibly remember. But remember, we have dreams, we have visions, and we have lost cities. You dream yourself in a city which you don't know where you were actually walking. And you say, but it was a huge city. But to say, can you locate it? You say, no, I can't locate it. But then why is it at one time just coming through as a vision? Because you were just remembering who you were, your past, your present, and your what? And your future. Somebody will say, I was driving a car, but this car I was driving was not the type of cars that we drive. This was a supercar that I was driving. And I don't know where I got this car. Yes, you don't know, because the technology you were once in was way too advanced than what you are today. And this is a manifestation. But are we going to go on a broader view and acclaim it and start to research on it?